Of today's meeting, but before we do, I'd like to publicly acknowledge and congratulate Councilwoman Laura Pastor. Councilwoman Pastor will be awarded from Valle del Sol on Friday morning an award of Mom of the Year, one of 4 Moms of the Year. So let's give her a big round of applause.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Thank
All
you.
right, could we please, congratulations, well deserved. Could we call a roll call, please, City Clerk?
Councilman DeCiccio. Councilman Gates.
Here.
Councilman Nowakowski. Councilwoman Pastor.
Here.
Councilman Valenzuela.
Here.
Councilman Waring. Councilwoman Williams.
Here.
Vice Mayor Gallego. Mayor Stanton.
Here, Ms. Holm, our interpreter, would you please introduce yourself for the audience?
Buenas tardes, me llamo Judy, soy intérprete de español. Si alguien necesita el equipo, por favor venga conmigo o con el personal de la ciudad. Gracias.
Thank you so very much. We now have some citizen comments. At this portion of the meeting, we have citizens are allowed to provide testimony before the City Council up to 3 minutes each. Our first person to speak on citizen comments are Beatrice Heron. Ms. Heron, are you here? Please come forward, followed by Raul Daniels.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'm so glad to be here today to be a part of the meeting, and I thank the Lord, too. But my comment today was, it's just not, well, I'm concerned about the pigeons downtown. I sit down there with them a lot, and I see a lot of them have their feet are all gnawed off, and they're real pitiful. And I just want to tell you about it, Mr. Mayor, to just kind of keep them in mind. And also, I noticed down at Central Station, it's a couple of water fountains is not working. And I noticed the pigeon bees in there trying to get water. A couple times I have given them water. And so I just want to know, could you consider that? And also, I'd like to talk to you about the shades at the bus stops, how we have to sit out there and it's so hot. I know you are revitalizing the city, so I just wanted you not to forget us, and because we're out there at the bus stops and we need shade. And also, I want to talk to you about, I noticed that you're building the rails, and I thank you for it, but I noticed there's no water around there. They get dirty real quick, and I know we have a lot of homeless people in this city. I also like to talk about down here to Central Station, to where is it, it's a lot of people boo-booing out there, and it smells real bad. And it really do need a lot of water out there so we can sprinkle things down and hold things down. And the city is quite. I walk a lot, and it's a lot of cigarettes butts out there too going down in the drain. We really do need a clean sweep, and I think that would be a blessing, good if we get the homeless people to do a lot of cleaning, because, I mean, I know I'm not the cleanest person. I do things that's not good, but I'm willing to help, too. I do know we do need a clean sweep out there. I thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Heron. Mr. Daniels, followed by Mr. Crowley.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing me the opportunity to speak. First of all, I live in Laveen. I'm concerned that neither one of our council folks are here, so hopefully the rest of you hear me out. We have a serious teen issue that's starting to explode in the Laveen community. Last year we had a shooting in Laveen High School. The city had a large meeting. There was probably more people than at that meeting than here today, and there was no follow-up after that meeting to discuss strategies. A year later, there's been several incidents now which led to stabbing and shooting of a young man who was killed about a week or two ago. This time there was a follow-up meeting initiated by the school district. What I'm hearing is because they were concerned that the city would not follow up. So that strategy meeting is being conducted this Friday from 6:30 to 7:30 at Cesar Chavez. Several issues facing us out in Laveen are, number one, gang involvement is increasing in Laveen, per the police department. Out of school, out of work teens, as you all know, Maricopa County is number one in the whole nation. 180,000 to 200,000 teens out of school and out of work, mostly in Maryvale, South Phoenix, and Laveen. Most teen crime occurs between 3 and 6 o'clock, and yet there's not a Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, or a Parks and Recreation facility out in Laveen providing service to youth or teens. There is no relationship between the city and the school staff out there as well. I know because I've met several times myself with the school staff at the high school and the Levine Elementary School District, and they have no relationship there between the city and the school staff. Consider the following propositions here for you all to consider. Create a comprehensive teen program based right there at Cesar Chavez High School that incorporates the teens because their involvement is much needed to address the issue. Local businesses, the community, and any social service agencies that provide all the services there on the campus. Second, you can possibly reorganize some of your city departments to either use some existing positions that are unfilled and move a position over there to Cesar Chavez and Levine community. You can also have the Parks and Recreation Department reallocate a body out there to Levine to do teen programs. Third, you can also, this budget process just occurred, allocate some funding. I've proposed about $200,000 for a specific council district for teen programming. Fourth, you can also designate a staff person whose job is to seek funding through collaborative efforts, grants, etc., to increase programs for teens not only in Levine but throughout the city. The city used to have one of the nation's top 10 youth development programs right here. Nothing exists anymore. I think the only council person here when that was on board was Councilwoman Thelda Williams. I spoke for you way back then on teen programming back in your council district. I also want to thank Councilman Laura Pastor for her efforts now to begin to seek funding and resources for teenagers. And I ask again that Councilman Nowakowski and Gallegos to please participate in the meeting at the Levine Chavez High School on Friday so we can get addressing that issue. And I also ask for support from the rest of the council folks to increase funding or actually provide some funding for teens.
Thank you. Thanks for your testimony. How about Mr. Crowley, and then finally Jennifer Rouse.
How are you all doing today, and good afternoon. I usually speak on transit, which I will today, but the last times I was talking about some of the facilities and what has happened with them, and I got a letter from a deputy city manager telling me that the reason that we haven't done anything with the Deck Park facility is because there wasn't a 100-story building built next to it. Now, since we got out of this situation 2 years ago and took the sign down saying Transit Center, when did the decision get made by the city that we're not going to finish and complete that facility? Because as I said, the letter I got said, well, we're not building a 100-story building, and now we're not doing it. Well, I've asked for what was the cost of building that facility overall, and I got another letter from RPTA saying that they didn't remember. Well, there is an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Phoenix and the State of Arizona on what you were supposed to do to complete that as a transit facility. Why didn't you do it? And this BS about a 100-story building, what? And then we go to the one over there at the airport. I know that the mayor doesn't appreciate me calling the SkyTrain a toy, but at $1.5 billion, wasn't there supposed to be a rail going through the airport and a facility already constructed underneath Terminal 4? Well, yes, there is. And the reason we didn't use that is the city was told it was going to cost $1 billion to take the dirt out and to complete that facility. So instead of, or $500 million. So instead of $500 million and putting the rail connecting in the airport, we spent $1.5 billion. And what is the situation on that terminal in Terminal 4? It's full of dirt. If you're not going to use it, why'd you build it? And since you built it, why aren't you using it as in retail or other facilities in there? So I don't need you to waste money. I need you to spend it judiciously, and I need you to build the infrastructure. At today's meeting of the RPTA, they went over the budget. And I'm so glad that Phoenix is going to be able to do some of the parts of the infrastructure, being that 70% of our stops don't have a shelter. We're going into a season now of extreme heat and such, and in fact, what do you guys have to put at your own little doorstep today? We have an air quality alert. Why? Because you have not produced the transit system for this particular community. When I look at the
Thank you
map...
very much, Mr. Crawley. 3 minutes are up.
Okay, all I was going to say is that...
Mr. Crawley, thank you very much.
Jim, how much of yours is
I mean,
got
Jennifer
transit?
Rouse is next. Thank you very much, Mr. Crawley. And that'll be the final citizen request.
Thank you, Mayor Stanton and members of council. My name is Jennifer Rouse. I live in the Levine area. Sorry. I'm going to sort of piggyback over what I said during the budget hearing in Levine. Thank you, Vice Mayor Gallego and Councilman Nowakowski, for listening to me speak beforehand. My concern is with our K-8 students. Similar to what Mr. Daniels said, we have a concern over crime in our area from our youth. Right now, we do not have a community center. We don't have a place for our students to really go after school and during the summer, and idle minds or idle hands, they got into trouble. And we're looking for help from the city. Even if we can't have a community center, please do continue to work with the Phoenix Union High School District, and if possible, work with our local school districts as well. I did address our local governing board about bringing Wake Up Club out there, but please also help, if possible, to bring the City of Phoenix PAC program, the after-school program, because many of these children probably would appreciate the opportunity to be after school and have some positive guidance in their lives. Please help us help our youth to reach their full potential. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rouse. Do we have enough time? Okay, I guess we have one more, and we are within the 15-minute time allotted for citizen requests. Mr. Leonard Clark.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for letting me speak. I'm a citizen of Phoenix, and first of all, I want to thank my fellow veterans, and on this very sad day, with the passing of another veteran who passed away, who was fighting for our freedom against an evil, monstrous force known as ISIL. It's only because of him and all of the other veterans, male and female, who've given their lives, who are defended, so that's why I'm here, and I thank them. I just wanted to state that there's a debate in the Arizona Republic yesterday between all of you about whether we should hire more police officers, or it was posed as whether we should have more body cams for the officers. I believe that some of you who have argued that that's a false choice are correct. I believe that the funding is already there for more police officers, but I also believe the funding is there also for more body cams. And as far as the body cams, everybody knows I'm not a fan of our illustrious sheriff, but I do agree with him on that one thing. Body cameras are a smart thing to have, like they have in the sheriff's department, because it protects not only the people, but the police officers. That way everybody knows that there's a lot more evidence out there when accusations occur by citizens about officers. So I hope that you will approve more funding for body cams. I do thank the mayor and other members who are for that for doing that. It's a false choice. The citizens of Phoenix will get more police officers, and they also, in this day and age of the internet and cameras everywhere, will know that our officers are protected and our citizens by having more body cameras. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clark. City Clerk will now read the 24-hour paragraph.
The titles of the following ordinance and resolution numbers on the agenda were available to the public at least 24 hours prior to this council meeting and therefore may be read by title or agenda item only. Ordinances number G6152 through 6162, S42482 through 42521, and resolutions number 21426 through 21432.
Thank you very much. We'll now see if there are a motion to approve the minutes of previous meetings. Councilman DeCiccio, did you have a chance to review the formal meeting minutes, March 2nd, 2016? We have motion approved. Do we have a second? Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Councilwoman Pastor, formal meeting minutes, April 6, 2016.
Move approval.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Do you have a motion on boards and commission nominations?
Motion to approve mayor, boards, and commissions nominations.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Do we have citizens here to be sworn in? Excellent. So I'll come down to the floor and to my right, your left. We'll swear you in for your service to the citizens of Phoenix. Then we'll ask you to come by in the dais and shake the hands of the council members. I want to say thank you as well. And then fill in the blank for your name, and then later on. All right, please raise your right hand. I, and state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of Thank you. According to the best of my ability. So help me God. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to liquor licenses. Do we have a motion on liquor licenses? Acting Vice Mayor.
Mayor, we'll take them separately. Item 1 is in District 3. I think we should defer that over to Councilman Gates.
Item 1 is a proposed liquor license in District 3. It was continued from April 20th. A1 Food Store. We have the applicant present, as well as a citizen here in opposition. Councilman Gase, do you want a short staff presentation first?
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
All right, would our professional staff please provide a presentation on liquor license number 1?
Mayor, members of the council, my name is Denise Archibald with the City Clerk Department. This request is for an acquisition of control of an existing liquor license for a convenience store that does not sell gas, doing business as A1 Food Store Number 2. Consideration may be given only to the applicant's personal qualifications and not to the location. Staff recommends approval of this application.
Thank you so very much. Councilman, you want to have the cards next?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, I'm going to first hear from Sam Hamdan, the applicant. Are you here? If so, please come forward, and then followed by Patrick Stark. You'll be followed immediately afterwards.
Mr. Hamdan.
Hamdan, thank
I'm here in favor of A1 Food Stores. I'm not the applicant. This is only an agent change, not the location. The store is still A1 Food Stores, owned by A1 Food Stores. Whatever the corporation name is, it's the same. So there's nothing really changing. We're not here, you know. Location's been approved in the past, so that's all I have to say.
Thanks so very much. Mr. Stark, did you provide testimony on this item?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. My name is Pat Stark. I'm the lead pastor of Genesis Church, and I'm also representative of the Rock at 32nd Street Community Center. And I'm speaking on behalf of Alice Cooper's Solid Rock Teen Center, which is housed under the roof. We're 100 feet from this store. Originally, with the previous owner, it was not told to us that it would be a smoke shop, nor would we wouldn't have allowed or would have spoken against it. Now we have an opportunity for an agent change, and while we're not fundamentally opposed to them selling alcohol, they've got drug paraphernalia in that store. We're trying to get kids, teenagers specifically in our city, off of drugs and out of addiction. And we believe that if the owner would agree to remove all of these things, we could have a decent working relationship. But I see no reason why a smoke shop should be 100 feet from the entrance of Alice Cooper Solid Rock Teen Center, our church, or the Southwest Regional Office of Alcoholics Anonymous. So I would like the council to consider at least denying for now this agent change liquor license so that we can converse with the owner and see if we can talk some sense into it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stark. Councilman Gates?
Yes, Pastor Stark, thank you for coming down. I actually had a couple questions for you, if you wouldn't mind coming back to the lectern. And thank you for everything that you've done and the entire community, both Genesis Church and the Rock at 32nd, for the great contribution you've made to our community. Now, you commented that have you not had an opportunity then to talk with the applicant about his operation?
Yeah, I called yesterday. We weren't able to speak much. I did speak with him just a few moments ago in the lobby, and you know, I know he's a businessman. I know he needs to make money, but I just think selling drug paraphernalia 100 feet from the front of a teen center, kids were trying to get off of drugs, is just going against what that 32nd Street redevelopment is all about.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't have any other questions for you at this time. Mayor, if we could call the applicant back up, and if I could ask him a couple of questions.
I think he said he didn't.
Yeah,
he
sorry,
was not the applicant.
Yeah,
Mr.
the
Hamden.
applicant's representative. My apologies.
Mr. Hamden.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, thank you for coming down, and thank you for meeting with me in my office recently.
No problem.
I appreciate that. Sounds like you, when we met, I had asked you to sit with the pastor. Sounds like that didn't happen. You know, I'd really like to see if there'd be an opportunity to have a more extensive discussion with him before this comes forward for a full vote, because I do have concerns which I expressed when we met in my office.
I think Abdullah called him about, what, a week ago?
No, 20 days before.
No, when did you call the pastor?
Yes.
He called the pastor, I think, right when we left your office, didn't respond until last night.
All right. I appreciate that. Appreciate that you made that phone call. I'm wondering for
There was
staff.
2 phone calls was made, right?
2 calls.
2 calls was made.
Okay, thank you. I wonder if there would be an opportunity to do another continuance on this?
Mayor, members of the council, Councilman Gates, we could move it for one more meeting if the applicant is amenable to that and he's willing to put that request in writing. I have a form here that he can sign here at the meeting if necessary.
Would you be willing to do that at this point?
No.
No, he's not willing to.
Okay, because without this, the opportunity to have a more extensive discussion, I'm inclined to make a motion to deny the request. So that's just telling you that's where I'm at. I had wanted that conversation to occur.
He's the applicant, he makes the decisions, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the motion is to deny. Do we have a second on that motion? All right, any additional comments by members of this council? Let the record reflect that I think that the councilman is being very generous with the offer to meet with you to see if there was an opportunity to work this out, or at least learn more about it. Make the record reflect that though the applicant was shaking his head no, I guess it's captured on video that it was the applicant who turned down the opportunity to meet with the council member representing the area who was attempting in good faith to try to work out the area. I believe that's a very poor choice on your part, but it's your choice to make. So the motion is to deny. There is a second.
Sorry, just to clarify, he did meet with me, but I asked him to have a meeting with the pastor, which, you know, a couple minutes before so just wanted to clarify that, but thank you for those comments, Mayor.
All right, so the motion is to deny, and a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, so the motion to deny passes unanimously. Next item is item number 2. That's in District 7, Councilman Nowakowski's district. Councilman, what's your pleasure?
Mayor, motion to approve this liquor license.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any comments? No cards. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Is the city clerk and acting vice mayor prepared with an omnibus motion? Please.
Motion to approve items 3 through 75, except the following items: 3O, 4, 8, 9, 11, 22, 23, 24, 26, 27, 51, 52, 62, 71 through 75. Item 3L has been withdrawn. Item 14 has been continued to May 18, 2016, and excluding these items for public comment. 8, 13, 14, 27, 32, 33, 37, 39, 41, 51, 62, 74, and 75, and 24.
Did you say 24 before? Because it's on our sheet. That's not on.
Well, 24 is, yeah, 24 is being held out.
All right, and we held out 3-0, Mr. City Manager, if you want to deal with that now or wait till it comes up.
Mayor, we can do either way, but given the questions and concerns I've heard about 3-0, I would withdraw that item and go back to the drawing board on it.
Can we amend the motions that 3-0 would be withdrawn?
Why?
Yes, amending the motion to withdraw item 3O. Does that suffice to say? Okay.
All right, so the motion is to, includes, the omnibus includes withdrawing of 3-0. The seconder has agreed. Noting that 14 is to continue. So Mr. Leonard Clark or Blue Crowley, you'll have an opportunity to provide comments on 14 at a later meeting, but today it's just being motioned to continue. All right, any comments or questions by members of this council?
Just a quick one.
Please, go ahead.
3-0, Ed, just if you could. Is that monies we have not expended yet, or is that just something we're just going to budget?
We have not expended that money yet.
Oh, so those meetings did not occur at that?
They did not occur.
Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you. Good job.
Any other comments or questions? Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gates.
Yes.
Noakowski. Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is 4, I believe. Item 4.
Suspend the rules.
Yeah, we're going
Oh, I'm sorry. We have a motion to take something out of order. I'm sorry, Vice Mayor.
Mayor, I make a motion to suspend the rules and take items 74 and 75 out of order.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. We'll move on to item 75. 75 is a 74, 75. Those are on the planning and zoning agenda concerning 31st Avenue alignment on the west, Missouri Avenue on the north, Black Canyon Freeway on the east, Camelback Road on the staff. We're going to proceed with a short staff report. I'll open it up for any public hearing, see if there are comments, and then see if there is a motion on 74, 75. I'm assuming we can do one public hearing, but have to have 2 separate motions. Okay, so this will be a public hearing on both 74 and 75 after a staff report on 74, 75. Mr. Stevenson.
Mayor, members of council, item 74 is a general plan amendment request for an area bounded by 31st Avenue on the west, Missouri Avenue on the north, North Black Canyon Freeway on the east, and Camelback Road on the south. As you noted, the companion zoning case is item 75. The general plan amendment request changes the land use designation for these parcels to public, quasi-public. This is an expansion of the Grand Canyon University campus. You see the map up here in blue shows the area that's to be expanded. That is added to the existing campus that's already blue, which is this area shown here on the general plan. You can see this is the aerial map. The areas outlined in red show the areas to be included as part of this expansion for both the general plan amendment and the zoning case. Here's the overall campus that shows this going back to 35th Avenue. This is the bulk part of the campus where they're not proposing changes really as part of the general plan or zoning case. It's all expansions in this area, but this is the overall campus master plan for Grand Canyon University. This is just an excerpt out of their PUD narrative that shows the setbacks related to the Grand Canyon Trail, Little Canyon Trail, should there be any issues to discuss with that. The Alhambra Village Planning Committee voted 13 to 1 to approve this request. The Planning Commission voted 9-0 to approve the request as well. For the general plan amendment and the zoning case, there was an additional Alhambra Village member that voted for that request for the zoning case, so that passed 14-0. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for our planning director? Okay, I'm now going to open the public hearing. This is for both 74 and 75. The public hearing is now open. Are there cards on 74 or 75? If you haven't, I didn't, Mr. Crawley, if you want to testify in this one, I don't have a card, so please fill one out, but we have a few cards to speak. I assume this is the correct order. Mr. Stephen Earl is representing Grand Canyon University. Did you wish to go first, Mr. Earl? Yes. Please come forward, and then it'll be followed by Gail Palmer, and then followed by Pastor Stephen Hayes, and then if Mr. Crawley puts in the card, it'll be Mr. Crawley. Mr. Earl.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. Again, for your record, my name is Stephen Earl. The address is 3101 North Central Avenue in Phoenix. I'm here and privileged to be here on behalf of Grand Canyon University. We have a very short presentation following the lines of what Alan Stevenson just told you. The purpose of this request is to make sure I do this right. Well, technology, here we go. Does not seem to be working unless I'm doing, now it's working. This exhibit shows you in crosshatch the area that already is occupied by the GCU campus. It's 205 acres. We're adding just under 50 acres. That's shown on this exhibit in dark purple. You can see that we're seeking an expansion of the campus. Generally, the campus is located between 35th and the freeway, 35th Avenue and the freeway, and from Missouri down to Camelback. These areas of addition will be folded into the campus PUD, and so that's the reason for the amendment. This next slide shows the area, well, if it works. Thank you. This next slide shows in crosshatch the area of the general plan that's shifting to public, quasi-public. Prior to this, it was either multifamily or commercial. And again, you can see the expansion of the campus toward the freeway. Next slide, please. This is an overall slide of the campus to show all the properties that are now a part of the campus with the addition of this amendment today. We show this because it demonstrates that there are a number of properties that will not be part of the campus, are not now part of the campus, and may never be part of the campus. For example, there's a storage facility on Camelback Road. There's a significant church on Camelback Road. Both of those individuals are here today in support of the request. There's also other churches in the overall area here, as well as the assisted living facility called Coulter Commons. We do not expect those properties to ever be part of this university, and so we are working in tandem with them to maintain and, we believe, even enhance the area through the significant investment of GCU in the overall campus. Next slide shows the growth of the campus and the reason why we're expanding. 8 years ago, Grand Canyon University only had 2,000 traditional students. Now it's got 16,000 traditional students, a major increase, and over time we hope to get to 25,000 traditional students. And it has 8 different colleges, a number of degree programs. So it has a significant influence on the area. This next slide shows that it has a significant economic impact. There's also community impact in that we're seeking to reduce violent crime, and I think Commander Robinson, who normally is here at these hearings to support us, would indicate that the crime rate in this area has dropped precipitously by virtue of the improvements being made by Grand Canyon University. We're also trying to revitalize the area. We've made a $1 million contribution to the Phoenix Revitalization Corporation. We're also working in tandem with Habitat for Humanity to, in a $10 million investment to build new homes We're looking for 90. I think we've already built 20. There's also a number of educational benefits to the community that we're striving for, and they involve tutoring of high school students in the 3 high schools in our local area. Traditionally, we've had Principal Claudio Correa attend these meetings. He was at the village meeting for us. He was at neighborhood meetings to say just how significant this benefit is. We invite all the students over to the university for tutoring in the afternoons. We provide scholarships to them. They can get credit for university credit for free of charge, and we're looking to expand that program. Next slide shows a series of buildings, both buildings that were currently under construction and ones that we've completed. You can see that there's a number of new dormitories that have been built on the campus. There are a number of new sporting facilities, including a state-of-the-art soccer club. There's also the arena that was built several years ago. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, you see that we are expanding by building a new office building, a multi-level office building on the corner of 27th and Camelback. This will house many of the employees that have been elsewhere. We're now bringing them to the campus. It also shows the additions we're making to the hotel there. And the top left corner shows the new STEM building, the new engineering building that is currently under construction. So we're making a significant investment in the area and a significant outreach in the area. We believe that this amendment to add additional acreage into the campus and to modify the general plan to fit the quasi-public is appropriate. Glad to respond to any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Earl. Any questions for Mr. Earl? All right, there may be some later, so if you just stay nearby. Next will be Gail Palmer, who indicated she's opposed to the proposal. Mr. Palmer.
Mr. Mayor, Chamber, Councilman, I'm a resident of the Alhambra School District. I was raised there since '49. GCU surrounded me. I'm not a happy neighbor with GCU, but I'd like to state a couple of things. Am I against this PUD? No. I'm against the city constantly giving into GCU, giving over 2 acres of the park away, city not advertising water well lot sale, fencing off city property so you cannot get to city property, GCU storing on city property, lot construction material, 2 large metal storage containers, and also using it as a parking lot for around 30 cars, vehicles. Not to mention driving unlicensed vehicles on streets, sidewalks, not requiring use of ballards on Little Canyon Trail. The city hasn't made GCU live up to previous PUDs. They have moved 1,500 students into dorms without a certificate of occupancy, only minimal fire protection. City permitted GCU to privatize 1,800 feet of public street used for over 85 years. I'm currently spending my life savings fighting this in court to keep it a public street. GCU owns over 320 acres and has never been required to do environmental impact study. Bill Luke Auto, Camelback and I-17 has 16 acres and was required to have an environmental impact study. Why and why not? All the money the city was going to pay to repave all streets in the southeast quarter section, over 2 miles of streets, so GCU would have new streets. This was over a year ago. And a new 24-inch water main from Deer Valley Water Plant to 27th Avenue and Camelback. Who is paying for all of this? While at the same time going to Capitol trying to pass that will cut GCU's property tax and put the burden onto the other taxpayers residing in the Alhambra district. I am sure the state will grant it to GCU today. I would like to see if it's been passed yet today. Has anybody got word on it? Faith? Has it been passed? 1402. Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Palmer, your 2 minutes are up, but if you want to just wrap up right now.
Yes,
that'd be
one couple of lines. PUD was passed today, will be passed today, but it's no wonder to me because GCU has the best city leaders, councilmen, senators, legislators, judge that money can buy. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Palmer, thank you very much. We have some additional cards on both 74 and 75. I think the remaining are in favor. If you don't wish to testify and just want to make sure your support is registered, just indicate as I read your name. If you want to testify, you're certainly able to do so. Pastor Stephen Hayes, you have to provide testimony. Come on down. Good to see you. Up to
Thank
2
you.
minutes.
40 years ago, I graduated from Grand Canyon College, and I pastor the church that's adjacent to Grand Canyon University. And as I look at the symbol behind you, Mr. Mayor, Grand Canyon University really is the embodiment of the Phoenix story, rising from the ashes. And it's just exciting to see the transformation, not just in the community, but in the lives of those who are graduating and going out to serve our community and our world. And so I just thank you, council members, for approving this urban development rezoning plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor. How about Kathy Rother? Did you provide testimony? If you do, come on down, followed by Bob Garrett, I think. Followed by, Stephen Hayes, you already provided testimony. Claudia Correa after that. And then Mr. Crawley.
Thank you, Mayor Stanton and council members. I'm speaking today in support of the proposed Grand Canyon University PUD request for expansion of their campus. I serve as the principal of Bourgade Catholic High School, a co-ed Catholic high school located at 4602 North 31st Avenue. We are a college preparatory high school that is diverse in its students, in terms of learning styles, in its ethnic makeup, and in its socioeconomic profile. This year, 98% of our students receive significant financial aid. We work very hard to achieve a 100% graduation rate, and 95% of our students are accepted to college, 75% of those to four-year universities, 17% of those go to GCU. I am pleased to express my support of GCU for this PUD request. We have been located in this community for 52 years and have witnessed the many changes those years have brought to the Canyon Corridor. As GCU has grown, our school community and the neighborhood surrounding us has benefited positively from their growth in the following ways. Through resources made available that have led to increased police presence in our surrounding neighborhood, which provides safety for our students as they walk to and from bus stops, and for our neighbors as their children move to and from our nearby public schools. Through the contribution of Habitat for Humanity that have renovated homes in the neighborhood. Through the students they send to complete service projects on our campus, through the nursing students who provide our school with health care, such as eye exams, physicals, and health education, through the free tutoring services provided at the Learning Lounge, where our students experience the positive support and modeling of effective learning habits, as well as food and fellowship, through the many scholarship opportunities provided for our promising young scholars who are economically disadvantaged, but hold the promise of lifting their families out of poverty as first-generation college attendees. And through the College of Education students who observe in our classrooms and serve as successful role models to our students. GCU is a valuable asset to our community, and it is important that we support their efforts to continue educating our citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Principal Rother, for coming down and all you do to support education at Bourgade. How about Bob Garrett, I believe? Did you wish to provide testimony? All right, and then Claudio Correa, and then Blue Crowley.
Unfortunately, I'm not as good a public speaker as the lady before me, but I just want you to know I definitely support Grand Canyon University. You know, I kind of go early on, back in 2006 and 7. We built a business right there. You know, through time, we all started getting along, and they started partnering up with us. They're not just a good asset for the area, they're a good asset for beyond the area. The neighborhoods beyond Grand Canyon have become better. Young people, they take more pride. I don't see as much graffiti. I don't see as much crime at all. You know, you look at statistics that say the crime has gone down, you can see it. You don't need to look at statistics. You could drive around safer. You know, there was a time I would bike from Central to that area and kind of worry about it. No, I don't. It's a, you know, you could be out there at 2 o'clock in the morning and you feel very safe. So I'm very supportive of the PUD. I like what they've done in the area. It's very high quality, what they're doing for the students. And it was very interesting because it's off subject, but I was doing an order for some product, and it was from Wisconsin, and the lady sat on the phone and just kept telling me about her daughter wanting to go to Grand Canyon University. So we talked about that the whole time. And so people outside of Arizona are excited about coming to Grand Canyon. So that says a lot about what they're doing. So I'm in full support.
Thank you much for your testimony. Claudio Correa, did you provide testimony? And then Mr. Crawley.
Good afternoon. My name is Claudio Correa, and I get the service principal of Alhambra High School, just down the street from Grand Canyon University. So among all the great things that have been said about the support that Grand Canyon is providing our community, tonight we get to celebrate 25 students who are being awarded a significant scholarship through Grand Canyon University. That is significant because it's not just about providing a safe and orderly community through the investment they've made, but also significant post-secondary opportunities for our students who are working so hard and really have a great vision for the future, for themselves, for their families, for the community. And through the work with Grand Canyon, their investment, our students are getting that great post-secondary opportunity. I can't thank them enough for that. The investment is significant and is significant for years to come. I'm very grateful. And it's not just our school, it's schools all throughout the West Valley who are getting these opportunities, both the tutoring, scholarships, and the safety factors is significant. And I appreciate your time, and please vote for this PUD.
Thank you very much, Principal. Blue, Crawley?
I've got some trepidation about this. I was on the Alhambra Village Planning Committee, and while I was there, Dr. Pates, the Vice Chancellor of Grand Canyon, was one of our members. I have a problem with the predatory nature of Grand Canyon when it comes to paying its taxes and that bill down at the legislature. The Alhambra School District, which my father was president of the school board for a while, is going to suffer significantly in the amount of tax money that you're not going to be paying, and so will the Phoenix Union High School District. I look at the overview and I see how many of those properties are single-family dwellings, and how much is that going to make it more predatory for Grand Canyon to be trying to take these people's property. 30th and Camelback, there used to be some low-income housing there. That's no longer there. I lived in that back in the 60s, but that has been eliminated, and they are now putting in the different facilities there. So I have a problem with the way that they're doing this, because I have a problem with where are all those individuals within that corridor that they're running and overplating. Are they really looking at their property to take? Because if you look at the whole campus, that's what they're trying to do, is make it a whole campus. What are we doing to protect the properties of those individuals in there? And as I said, with Grand Canyon going out of its way to make sure it doesn't pay its fair share, it's going to be a suffering of the Alhambra grade school, and it's going to be a suffering of the Phoenix Union High School District. It's nice that they're doing some things with Bourgade and with Alhambra, and I noticed Washington didn't make its representation here. I went to Bourgade. I wish that back then that there would have been the communication. But as I said, I have a little trepidation on how predatory they have been in the neighborhood, taking the properties. And being the bicycle advocate, it'd be nice if the Little Canyon Bikeway that runs from 31st and Missouri, oh yeah, they took it and destroyed it. So a part of our bikeway system doesn't exist because it went on near their property.
All right, thank you very much,
guys
Mr.
gave
Crawley.
it to them.
Thanks for your testimony.
Have a good day.
Others not wishing to speak, but wanting their opinion known. Taylor Earl in favor. Rich Osterly in favor. Faith Weiss, good to see you, Faith, in favor. Brian Roberts, representing GCU, in favor. And Mike Schern, also in favor. Did anyone else wish to testify on item 74 or 75? Going once, going twice. The public hearing is now closed. I think Both 74 and 75 are in District 5. So I'll turn it over to Councilman Valenzuela to see if he has a motion.
Thank you, Mayor. This PUD will allow GCU to continue its positive campus expansion, and much of the information that was shared today in the initial PowerPoint, you know, the economic impact for the entire West Valley has reached more than $1 billion. The investment that has been made by GCU in just the last 4 or 5 years has reached about $500 million, which with plans to continue to invest another $500 million in the next 5 years. It has really helped turn the community around, and it's a community where, you know, I grew up part of my life, and I am an unapologetic advocate for Central and West Phoenix. I've said that several times, and when you have an organization like GCU who is continuing to grow, and I think at a very positive rate, it's the fastest growing university in the country, and the way they are doing it, you know, we heard today Habitat for Humanity. To dig in a little bit deeper, GCU is working with the Habitat for Humanity and thousands of students to revitalize 700 homes in the area. These are not homes owned by GCU. These are homes owned by people who wish to stay in the community. Has GCU been aggressive in purchasing as many of these properties as possible? Clearly. I think the last few years we can see that they absolutely have been. Has GCU made anyone sign, forced anyone sign on the dotted line to sell their property? I don't think so. I haven't seen one person come up to my office or make a phone call or testify saying that they were forced to sell to GCU. But I'll tell you what has happened between the investments and the public-private partnerships that have been made specifically from the Cactus Park Precinct and the City of Phoenix and our office and GCU. Crime rates in a 4-mile radius, according to the Cactus Park Precinct, is down by 30%. Property values are up by 30%. There are more people looking to do business and actually move into the area because of all of the positivity that is going on. And we just heard from other community advocates, strong advocates, like Principal Correa from Alhambra High School. You've heard from Bourgade High School, and we have a number of letters here from some very influential neighborhood leaders from the Canyon Corridor community advocating on behalf of GCU. This weekend, I'm going to plug this event that slightly has something to do with GCU. I'd like to invite everyone to come out to downtown Phoenix for Cinco Phoenix. It's the city's version of Cinco de Mayo, our celebration. It's going to be right downtown Phoenix. It's been happening for several years, and on Sunday night, something very special is going to happen. I have the opportunity and the privilege to be on stage again Sunday night as we pass out $20,000 of scholarships, GCU scholarships, to many of which are first-generation college students. So another example of this organization's work in the community. Now, is everyone on board? No. Obviously, nothing is going to be 100%. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Mr. Palmer, who lives right near GCU. A tremendous amount of respect for you, Mr. Palmer, and I understand that that you don't agree with all of the growth in the community. My door will always be open. I'm always a phone call away. I'm always happy and willing, as I have been in the past, to facilitate meetings with GCU. You know, the way things have been done in the past, in fact, the last PUD, working closely with neighborhood leaders, making concessions on the GCU side. We're going to continue to move down that path. But I have to tell you, in order to move our city forward and West Phoenix forward, and to recognize that GCU, as far as I'm concerned, is Phoenix's university, this is a good thing. And I couldn't be more supportive. And so my motion is to approve staff recommendation in this PUD.
All right, so the motion on 74 is to approve per the planning director's memo dated May 4th, 2016, and adopt.
Still in the public? Or did
No,
we-
we're,
Okay,
we
all right.
we finished public hearing, now we're on the motion, and adopt the related resolution.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any additional comments by members of the council? Councilman DeCiccio, please.
Just to point out a couple things first. This is just basically a zoning change. So I know there was a lot of things being brought in here. It's a little confusing even for those of us that are up here, but if you look at it, Grand Canyon University over the last several years they've been trying to do everything they can to revitalize their area. They've pumped millions of, not hundreds of millions of dollars of investment into that property. And what you've seen happen out there because of these revitalization efforts is you're starting to see an increase in property values. It's becoming more of an attractive area. I think we all have to remember what happened maybe 5 or 6 years ago and whether or not that would be an area that a lot of us would invest in. And that's as simple as that. So the revitalizations, this is just a simple rezoning, allowing for the revitalization to occur over there. It's as simple as that. I want to make sure that we don't get lost in what's happening with some of the other questions, which I don't know what's happening at the state, but we know what's happening here today, and I'm going to be very supportive of that. Thank you, Mayor.
Are there much any additional comments? So the motion is in favor. We have a second. Is the motion appropriate, or should we clarify? Why don't we clarify? Have the Vice Mayor clarify.
Let me clarify one more time, Mayor.
Please.
Motion to approve per the planning director's memo dated May 4th, 2016, and adopt related resolution.
All right, so that was the motion. We did, yep. We have a motion, we have a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gates. Noakowski. Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring. Williams. Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passed unanimously. How about a motion 75, Vice Mayor?
Motion to approve per the planning director's memo dated May 4th, 2016, and adopt the related ordinance.
We have a motion, we have a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gates.
Yes.
Noakowski. Pastor. Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, so now we'll go back to regular order on our agenda, and I believe on regular order, we're on item number 4. Do you have a motion on item number 4? Vice Mayor?
Yep. Motion to approve item number 4.
We have a motion, do we have a second? We have a second, any cards on that item? Any comments? Roll call.
I just had a question for
Please,
the
Councilor
city
Ryan.
manager. Thank you. So this is not voting on the budget, tax increases, union contracts, or anything. It's just setting up a hearing to do that later.
Mayor, Councilman Waring, this simply is the legal notice of the hearings that have to be held in order for the council to vote on the budget.
Thank you.
All right, roll call.
DeCiccio.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Noakowski.
Yes.
Pastor. Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring.
Yes.
Williams. Mayor Stanton.
Yes, next item, I believe, is item number 8. Is that correct? Yeah, do we have a motion on item number 8?
Need to read the title.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, city clerk needs to read the title, then we see if there's a motion.
Item 8, ordinance G6152, an ordinance amending section 18-205C of chapter 18, article 7 of the Phoenix City Code relating to the Small Business Enterprise Procurement Program to extend the Small Business Enterprise Program.
Okay, do we have a motion on item number 8?
Motion to approve item number 8.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do we have any cards on item number 8? All right, all in favor of the motion. So if you want to provide testimony, you can. You're certainly not required to. Your card and name will be made for the record. How about Arizona Mike? Is Arizona Mike Folson here? All right, he's in favor of the, oh, is that you? All right, come on down. Representing the Arizona Hispanic Chamber, Gonzalo de la Melena. Gonzalo, are you here? It's up to you whether to provide testimony. Doesn't matter either order. If you get up there first, go right ahead. Followed by Ricardo Carlo. Mr. de la Melena, excuse me.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Gonzalo de la Melena. I serve as the president for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We also operate the Minority Business Center for the state of Arizona. Wanted to just mention again the importance of the small business program. Arizona is a small business state. Arizona is a small business state. 98% of all jobs in our state are small business generated. If you look at our corporate concentration versus Dallas, Denver, Chicago, Seattle, Houston, we have a lot lighter concentration of small businesses. If we want Phoenix to compete in the global economy, we must really unlock the potential of small businesses for the future. The global trends are moving in that direction. 2/3 of all Fortune 1000 companies have small and diverse programs. 2/3 of all Fortune 1000 companies have small and diversity programs. As we want to attract those large companies, we have to have a supply chain that can pipeline into those corporations. Another best practice, when the Super Bowl came to Phoenix, year before last, one of the first things they did is they said, "What's your small business program like?" In fact, they used the Small Business Enterprise Program as their pipeline to bring their buyers. We overlaid local corporate buyers to integrate them into the program. So as we attract global companies, global brands, we must have a small business program. As it relates to a best case study, if you look at the work that's been accomplished at Sky Harbor Airport, 30 to 40% of the content has become small, local, or minority content. The result of that work has increased traveler satisfaction, increased revenue, increased transaction. In fact, garnering Sky Harbor to be one of the #1 airports in the country as it relates to small business inclusion. In conclusion, small business participation really, Mayor and Council, is a business imperative as we move forward. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Gonzalo, how about Arizona Mike? Followed by Ricardo Carlo.
Arizona Mike Faison, and thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm representing the group of businesses that are certified with the city that don't get contracts with the city. And yet I'm supporting it. I'm going to tell you why. I and others also benefit from the joint certification program. I recently learned that Mr. Trevor Bowie was responsible for this arrangement that allows there to be one certification that would be honored by other government entities. Over time, he and other staffers like Tony Hatcher, Kedrick Ellison, and Johnny Funderburg have helped to simplify the program and broaden its scope. These, along with Denise Olson, Jim Campion, and Ms. Camacho, have occasionally conducted compliance and business development workshops to assist vendors. Although I place myself among those who have never worked in an actual contract with the city, my business has still derived economic benefit from being certified on those credentials. I was hired by the town of Queen Creek, was accepted on the 2008 Super Bowl vendor list. As the gentleman just mentioned, I received an actual contract with the NBA during the All-Star game in 2009. Along with that, I was offered to apply for an official merchandise licensing with the NBA, which is still an option. Around the time of Super Bowl 49, I and a group of city-certified small business entrepreneurs targeted a loose affiliation, or brought together a loose affiliation, which I called the Arizona Stone Soup Initiative. After some constructive feedback from the NFL, we devised a program that will allow more certified firms to create their own economic benefit when the games come to the Valley, so they don't have to wait to get contracts with those groups. It was our group that brought the woman, Dr. Jen Welter, here, who made history as the first female coach in the NFL. Our group of loose businesses that are certified were working together, and we made that happen.
All right, thank you very much, Arizona Mike. Final thought, please.
My final thought is this. I wish to mention these two millennials, Ireland and Jake. She's an ASU student. Jake is from Texas, who already graduated. I met them both at Startup Week. I met you also, Mayor, and Brian Mueller. But both of them separately have business-oriented tech products in development right now. When their products are market-ready, obtaining city certification would provide a pathway to government contracts, grants, and a means of pre-screening by private sector funding sources. So by the council extending this outreach program another 4 years will enable the city's EOD and procurement departments to modify their provisions to encompass the new paradigms in business that are emerging from millennial generation entrepreneurs. These are now innovating and will likely be providing products and services that will be utilized by governments in the future that we can't even imagine what they would be. Thank you for your attention. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much. Any questions, member of the council? Thanks for your testimony. How about Ricardo Carlo? Did you wish to provide testimony on this item? Great to see you.
Mayor and council, thank you for the time for being able to speak in front of you today. As everybody knows, I am in favor of extending the SBA program. It has been a great program. I've been involved with the Oversight Committee for over 10 years. I sit as the chair this year and next year, part of the committee, trying to find ways to enhance the program and make it better for the SBA community. This program is nationally known as the model program, I hope that wasn't me, as the model program that our nation's cities follow, and it is on record that it is being done so. This program has enabled a lot of small businesses to be able to enhance their businesses, to grow their businesses, not only if not working with the city of Phoenix, because as Mike mentioned earlier, because of the certification, it opens up a lot of doors and it helps a lot of these small businesses to grow and be successful, which of course is economic injection back into the city of Phoenix itself. And also hopefully in time bring in these large corporations that we've been falling short on and be able to continue to grow the city and make it the nation, the city to follow in the nation as a whole. I myself am in favor for moving the program forward, and I encourage the mayor and council to please consider moving the program to 2020. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carlo. All right, that's all the cards we have on item number 8. Did we already get a motion on 8? I apologize. We do have a motion. We have a second. Any comments by members of this council? Councilman Nowakowski, please.
Mayor, I have the privilege of sitting on the fees subcommittee. We had testimonies from small businesses that have grown through this program. And I really want to thank Gonzalo and Ricardo for their organizations that continue to mentor small businesses. There were stories about the small businesses within our airport and how it makes it so unique by having these local restaurants where people come in and they can actually experience the restaurants here locally. Also the constructions, the individuals that can have those bonds, but then they look at the contractors that'll cover those bonds for them so that they can actually get these big contracts with the city of Phoenix. So I just really want to thank you all, and this is a great program, and it is recognized nationally as we're one of the best programs out there in the country, and people actually come to Phoenix for the best practice when it comes to small businesses. So I want to congratulate our staff also for all their hard work and continuing getting awards for being one of the best cities with the small business program. So thank you all.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Any other comments by members of this council? Roll call.
DeCiccio.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring.
Yes.
Williams. Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passed unanimously. Item number 9, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve item number 9.
Motion and a second. No cards. Any comments by members of this council? Roll call.
DeCiccio.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring.
No.
Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passes 7 to 1. Next item is 11, I believe. Yeah, 11. Do we have a motion on 11?
Motion to approve item 11.
Second.
Motion is second. Councilman Gates, do you have comments on 11?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is a wonderful technology savings through using technology by the law department, so I want to give them appropriate kudos for that. There's going to be about $82,000 a year in efficiency savings, and I know that as we move into the future, we have, as a city, captured a lot of the low-hanging fruit, and more of these efficiency savings moving forward are going to be accomplished through using technology. So I'm very pleased to see this, and we'll be supporting this item.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Roll call.
DeCiccio.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes. Next item is 13, is that correct? Item number 13, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve item 13.
We have a motion, we have a second. Mr. Leonard Clark, did you have testimony on item number 13?
I'm a resident of Phoenix. I was just concerned because, you know, in this day and age, when we have executive sessions, whatever level of government it is, I'm not saying that you would be doing this on this council, but I am concerned with the timing of it being on Election Day. And I'm just, you know, wondering if there's a reason for that. But I just hope that you don't start abusing this privilege of having an executive session and do like sometimes they've done over in the Board of Supervisors, where they talk about everything and then they come out and just vote on something and they don't tell us, the citizens, what they're voting on. Just remember, we're still the citizens, and we have more and more light being shown on the workings of government, and this is something that you need to take into account. So I put neutral on it. I just find that the timing of having it on the election day, when all of the press will be occupied with the election, which is not a bad thing actually, considering what's been going on around here. But still, I'm just nervous that when you do that for those reasons. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clark. Or we have a motion, we have a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski. Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring.
Yes.
Williams. Mayor Stanton.
Yes, next item on the agenda is item number 22. Yeah, 22 is next. Do we have a motion, item number 22?
Motion to approve item 22.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Councilman Gates, you have a potential conflict?
Yes, on the Foundation for Blind Children, items only.
Okay, why don't we pull those out then and vote separately? So we'll do item 22, everything but the Foundation for Blind Children items. So that's the motion, is that all right?
Motion to approve. Yeah.
Okay, that's a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski. Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, then we get a motion on the Foundation for Blind Children items.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Councilman Gates?
Potential conflict, Mayor?
Okay, Councilman Gates has potential conflict and will not be participating in the vote. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passes 7-0. Next item is 23. Item number 23, do you have a motion?
Mayor, I wanted to make a comment on this.
Are you going to advance the motion, or you want to wait till the motion's up to you? Okay, go ahead and make your comments.
I would move approval on this.
Oh, okay, good.
And make the comment that it just come to my attention before this meeting that domestic violence victims trying to leave a crisis center have nowhere to go. So I would encourage us to review these funds and see if there's any way we can squeeze out some money for some housing because most of them are low or medium income, and we can't let them go back to their house. So if we would look at that, I'd really appreciate it.
Okay. So we have a motion in favor with those comments. Do we need a second? Do I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passes unanimously. Next item is item 24. Do we have a motion on 24? On-call healthy homes, whole house assessment consulting services.
Motion to approve item 24.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any cards? Any comments on members of council? Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring.
No.
Williams. Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passes 7-1. Next item is 26. Do you have a motion on 26, Vice Mayor?
Motion to approve item 26.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Councilman Gates, you had comments regarding the Kroger Fries partnership to create murals in districts 1 and 3. Murals, excuse me.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I will be supporting this item. This is a great item. Fries We'll be building several new stores, including one in District 3 on Bell Road, and they're going to be adding murals into these projects, and they're actually going to be partnering with our Office of Arts and Culture to have them do the process of selecting which artists to be used. And I just really wanted to say this is a great opportunity where the city of Phoenix is generating revenue through one of its departments. So I think that's a testament to our Office of Arts and Culture, and love to see public-private partnerships like this. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. We have a motion. We have a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passes unanimously. Item 27, Sky Harbor Terminal 3 Public Art Project.
Motion to approve item 27.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Mr. Blue, Crawley, you have testimony?
I'm all for art projects, and I'm glad that the city has a 1% of any major projects to be put towards art. But then when I see that it's a New York artist, I go, gee, nobody here in Phoenix? We don't have an art community in Scottsdale, et cetera. And part of that is that I don't see the city doing enough outreach to get the artist of the area as a part of the process. I don't see outreach into Grand Canyon University's art department. I don't see it at ASU's art department. I don't see it at Glendale Community Colleges or Phoenix Colleges. There is no outreach into our community to get these people signed up so they can be a part of the competition. Now, at the RPTA meeting today, they had a whole discussion for what was it, close to 20 minutes on whether RPTA needs to be spending 1% on its art projects, and they decided that they should leave that to the cities. And I had a problem with it the whole time because every single one of those cities has an ordinance saying 1% of all major projects go to art. So why that went down the way it did, I don't understand. But as in with all parts of the airport, this bridge and such, how is that also a part of our master intermodal transportation plan? Because supposedly the rail is supposed to get there too. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Crawley. We have a motion. We have a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring.
No.
Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passes 7-1. Next item is 32. Do we have a motion on 32?
Motion to approve item 32.
Second.
All right, motion on 32. We have a second. Mr. Leonard Clark, did you wish to provide testimony regarding our application to enter into agreement with Department of Justice for Smart Policing Initiative Grant?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Leonard Clark. I'm a citizen of Phoenix, and I support this. I don't have all the details memorized, but I like the part about it looked like funding for body cameras for officers. I don't think that the people and the law enforcement should be enemies. I think smart policing, these types of things, are breaking down that wall that's been built up because of the militarization that's taken place with post 9/11 times. So I approve of this, and hopefully when the mayor goes to Washington, D.C. and works for Hillary, maybe he can send back some more funding for body cams. Thank you.
I'm tweeting it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clark. All right, a motion. We have a second. Comments? Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, passes unanimously. Item 37 is next.
33.
33, I apologize.
Motion to approve item 33.
33, motion in favor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and second. Gail Chimmel, you should provide testimony on 33, which is city hopefully entering an agreement with the National Institute of Justice for DNA capacity enhancement and backlog reduction grant. Good to see you. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you. Mayor Stanton, council members. I wanted to provide a personal perspective to what happens when there's a backlog at the crime lab or the Lab Services Bureau. Last fall, I live in north central Phoenix. Last fall, there were 4 or 5 homes and vehicle property crimes on my street, let alone others throughout my townhome complex. I was online, nextdoor.com, happened to see information about these. I went ahead and got an alarm system. 9 days later, after activating it, there was an attempted break-in at my home. When I came home, after hearing from the alarm company, there were broken glass in the master bedroom, and I see a hunting knife on the floor. Now, the person did not get in. However, you cannot replace peace of mind with your insurance company. For a couple months, I was very skittish. Any noises I heard, I'm looking out all my windows to see who's there. The numerous police helicopters going over the neighborhood didn't really help either, but at least they were around. So saying that, the evidence at my house, which included the knife and a handprint on the window and possibly the guy getting cut on the window as he broke it. It took a few hours, but the police officer did come back and take the evidence and was very thorough. This evidence may be the best available of all the ones I just mentioned of the property crimes. I did my own little detective work, talked to neighbors, went for a haircut nearby. There's Albertsons and Cost Cutters and a bike shop just directly north of us. Haircutters had been broken into also about the same time, along with the bike shop. My neighbor saw the guy. He broke the window. She heard the glass break. She saw him going back over the wall when my alarm went off. Still, my evidence is sitting there. Property crime takes a low rank. This backlog is a huge disservice to the public and the police. I do approve the grant. However, it's not the first one, and there's still a backlog, so I'm respectfully asking that a final solution to this problem be resolved. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chill, for coming down and providing that important testimony. That's the only cards we have on that item. We have a motion in favor of applying for the grant. We have a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski. Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passed unanimously. Item 37 is next.
Motion to approve item 37.
Mayor, I'll second this if staff will tell me they're going to send an inspector out that's going to make sure that the job is done correctly.
Okay, there's no quid pro quo. You're doing the second and asking if that's going to happen.
Yeah,
All right,
that's
thank
what
God.
I
All right,
did.
that's not-
Yeah. Or, no.
Mayor and Councilwoman Williams, yes.
All right.
All right. We have a motion on 37. We have a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passes unanimously. 39 is next. Do you have a motion on 39?
Motion to approve item 39.
Second.
Mr. Crowley, 39.
Like I said before, I was at RPTA earlier today, and what did they discuss? A contract for paratransit for the east and the northeast valley, and it went to Total Transit. I'm looking at this, and it's saying the different parts of it, and I'm wondering that when we were at RPTA, I believe it was close to 100 million that you guys spent on total transit. And here we're going to spend what? Oh yeah, another 100 million. 99,812,000 for the life of the contract. And I just don't understand parts of it, like with the city of Avondale. The city of Phoenix is in the past, when there's been budget restraints, you've always said, well, we'll just get rid of Dial-A-Ride because it's in areas that aren't necessarily have bus. And since the Fed only demand that within a half mile of a bus route that you have Dial-A-Ride, it's an easy scapegoat. And I understand that this does cover the whole city of Phoenix, Avondale, and Glendale. And when I look at Avondale, I go, well, how many bus routes do we have there? Well, if you don't count the rural one, they've got 0. They've got some express, but until the Valley Metro and the city of Phoenix decide to make the whole grid a part of the system, taking care of the elderly and the disabled is fine and dandy, but why don't you make the bus system so that it's demanded, not just an excuse? Because, like I said, you guys can flush it at any time because it's not demanded.
Thank you very much, Mr. Crowley. We have a motion. We have a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gates.
Yes.
Noakowski. Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela. Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes. Next item is 41. Do we have a motion on 41?
Motion to approve item 41.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on 41. Mr. Blue Crowley, this is a proposed IGA with ADOT for 35th and Indian School Road improvements.
When that bridge was originally built, the safety problem was that you didn't have 2 bridges, and it hasn't improved much from there. 35th Avenue and Indian School is what, according to the feds, when it comes to safety, is an intersection with the railroad. Oh yeah, you're one of the worst. Now, if this is to put some pieces of equipment, you know, the standards, that might improve the whole situation there, but that's not what I see happening. So it's nice that you're saying, well, we're going to start working with the railroad and doing that. But until we have the railroad standards there at every part of those intersections, the safety is not going to be what it should be. And also, when it comes to safety at that intersection, you need to tear that bridge down and do it right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Crowley. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gates.
Yes.
Noakowski. Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, passes unanimously. Next item is 51.
Motion to approve item 51.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on 51. Any cards on that item? Blue Crowley, this is the creation of a regional bike share coordination team.
With my sensitivity to bicycles, as you know, Mayor, getting the bike racks on the buses and working with MAG on the bike situation, I look at it and say, look at Grand Canyon College. There's a bike route that starts on 31st Avenue at Metro Center, and it goes all the way into, no, it stops at Missouri, and then it starts again at Camelback. When we are doing bike coordination and doing all the parts of the equation, when you did some of the tunnels, you guys said, well, with that Zodiac killer being out there, and we don't do tunnels because he was killing people and they were doing it in the tunnels. It turned out he had killed an individual back over on 12th Street, and the head floated all the way to 27th, but what can I say about it other than you sacrificed the bicyclist and the program? Now, MAG is nice and that it supposedly is coordinating all the efforts. But when I look at you guys having a bronze award for activity, I showed you the bike map recently. If you look at any of the other communities, Glendale has twice as much as you. And then when you go into Gilbert and Mesa and Chandler, if you look on the bike, almost every one of their square miles has the bike facilities in it. Not bike routes, bike lanes. That means that they're using paint as a weapon to protect me, as you should with all crosswalks and on all major arterials. Put my bike lane out there, and that's what you and MAG need to be doing. On all major arterials, where are my bike facilities, and use a little paint to give me a little protection. It ain't much, but when it ain't there, how many people are hit in unmarked crosswalks because the vehicle says, well, there wasn't paint? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Crawley. We have a motion. We have a second on item 51. Roll call.
DeCiccio.
Were there any comments by members of this council? Roll call. Sorry.
DeCiccio. Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski. Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela. Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, the item passes on a 6-2 vote. Next item is item 52. City Clerk, please read the title.
Item 52, Ordinance G6153, an ordinance amending Phoenix City Code, Chapter 2, Article 12, relating to public works contracts to provide protest and withdrawal procedures for procurement of public works contracts.
We have a motion on 52.
Second.
Motion to approve item 52.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any comments by members of the council? Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski. Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes. Item passed unanimously. Next item, we're now on the, we're now on the 062. We're now on the planning and zoning agenda. Next item is item number 62. Councilman Nowakowski, you have a motion on 62.
Motion to approve?
This is the abandonment of sidewalk
continue.
easement. Did you want to continue?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Mayor,
all right.
I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong one. I'd like to continue this. I'd like to have the owner of the property and also the individuals that are renting from them to sit down and have a conversation before approving this.
Second.
We have a motion to continue, a second. All in favor say, motion to continue to May 18th, 2016. Okay, and we have one card, only to talk substantively, so it's okay with the continuance. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is item 71. Item 71 is a planning and zoning matter concerning the northwest corner of 23rd Avenue and Pinnacle Peak Road, which is in District 1. Well, the order of events will be a staff report, open a public hearing, see if there's a motion, and then we'll have a vote. Mr. Stevenson, do we have a short report on item number 71?
Mayor,
Oh, and
member-
71, 72 are companion, I'm assuming?
Correct.
Okay, so give the staff report on both items, please.
Absolutely. Thank you. Mayor, members of council, item 71 is a general plan amendment for the northwest corner of 23rd Avenue and Pinnacle Peak Road. Item 72 is the correlating zoning case for it. The general plan amendment request is to change the acreage from industrial to residential, 5 to 10 dwelling units per acre. Here is the area shown. You have I-17 right here. Here's Pinnacle Peak Road. This just shows the existing zoning in the area. And this is their proposed site plan. Where's the aerial? There we go, I'm sorry. So this is the aerial here that shows the context surrounding it. And then they have a proposed single-family project here that looks more single-family, but it is a multifamily rental project that they are proposing. This request was not reviewed by the Deer Valley Village Planning Committee because they did not have a quorum for either the general plan or the zoning case. However, the Planning Commission did approve the general plan amendment by a 6-1 vote, and they also approved the zoning case by a 7-1 vote, as they had another member show up by the time they took up the zoning case. Staff does recommend approval per the Planning Commission and adoption of the related resolution for item 71 and the related ordinance for item 72. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Stevenson? Okay, with that, I'm going to open up the public hearing on both 71 and 72. Public hearing is now open. Are there any cards on item 71 or 72? We don't have any members of the public wishing to speak, but in favor of both 71 and 72 are Brennan Ray, the applicant. Is anyone else here wishing to speak on item 71 or 72? Going once, going twice. The public hearing is now closed. This is in Councilwoman Williams' district, so I'll turn it over to her for a motion on 71.
I would move to approve per the Planning Commission's recommendation and adopt the related resolution.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any additional comments by members of this council? Roll call.
DeCiccio.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Noakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, the item passes unanimously. Item 72, Councilman Williams.
Again, I would move to approve per the Planning Commission's recommendation, including stipulations in Staff Addendum A dated March 24th, 2016, and adopt the related ordinance.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gates.
Yes.
Noakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passed unanimously. I feed the final item on our agenda is item 73. Item 73 is a planning and zoning matter on the northwest corner of 56th Street in Deer Valley Road. We'll follow the same procedure. Short staff report, open up the public hearing, see if there's a motion and a vote of the city council. Mr. Stevenson.
Mayor, members of council, this aerial context shows where this general plan amendment resides. It's within the Desert Ridge specific plan area. It's a very small parcel that is on the corner of part of a larger parcel known as 4HE within the Desert Ridge specific plan. That is the northwest corner of 56th Street and Deer Valley Drive. Here's the context of it. This is the final phase of this multifamily project that's been being developed by Statesman Development Group the last several years. They are only seeking to add assisted living to this final phase of their apartment project, and so this is a specific plan amendment that would allow that to happen. It was approved by the Desert View Village Planning Committee by an 8-0 vote, as well as the Planning Commission by a 9-0 vote. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Stevenson? Okay, I'm going to open up the public hearing now on item number 73. Public hearing is now open. Are there any citizens wishing to speak on 73? Are there any cards? Okay, is any member of the public here wishing to speak on item number 73? Going once, going twice. The public hearing is now closed. This is in District 2, Councilman Waring's district. Councilman, do you have a motion on item 73?
I do. Motion to approve per the Planning Commission recommendation and adopt the related resolution.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Would you like to add adopting the related ordinance to your motion, Councilman?
I am reading what I was provided as the official.
Mayor, Councilman Waring, yes, it would be per ordinance because it is the specific plan provisions within Desert Ridge. So I apologize for that. It's an ordinance.
Okay, so this is a typo.
Yeah.
Okay. Motion to approve per the Planning Commission recommendation and adopt the related ordinance.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any additional comments by members of this council? Roll call.
DeCiccio.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Noakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passes unanimously. There be no further business for the city council. We have one citizen comment card. We have one additional citizen comment card. Destiny Galindo, please come forward. Good to see
Hi, you guys. My name is Destiny Galindo. I'm 20 years old, and I'm here on behalf of all my friends who couldn't be here, but will be here next time. I would really like a budget for teen programs, but nothing boring, something like open a studio up. A lot of kids are on YouTube nowadays, and we like to rap, make music, make visuals, you know? And put someone in the studio that could possibly, you guys pay him with the budget, and that could record us because we don't have enough money to get professional quality. And I just want to show you how much we're really worth by rapping for you guys. It'll only take a second. No cuss words, I promise. But here we go. Okay. Creativity, look at what it did to me. Waving high from the 21st century. You standing proud, you have now received the recipe. They clapping loud, now they turning in their empathy. I'm here to rescue you, someone once rescued me. Demonstration of the laws that will set you free. My friends is dying and the government they lying. And my soul is steady crying cause my poverty is trying. Politician reminiscing on his past life. I feel him bluffing, that's corruption through the windpipe. You never thought that you would ever see the real me. Now that I'm right here, do you really want to kill me? I've had to think a lot about all the things I've done. My dreams is always in and out, I've always had a ton. Visionary, while we at the cemetery. Flooded thoughts, cause the chick you with is ready to marry. But that's how much we're worth, and we could bring light into the world by that. And instead of doing bad things, we could do stuff like that. Oh, and are you guys really hiring someone from New York to paint on the Fry's wall?
We can't answer that during the courses, but I'll get someone to get with you after the meeting to give you the answer to that. But
Oh, okay, well, not answered, but I think that's weird. The Phoenix is on the come up, so you guys should really support Phoenix. That just does not make sense to make someone else come over here and put on. But other than that, God bless you guys. Have a good life, and hopefully you guys will see me soon on MTV. Bye.
Thank you very much. Good luck. All right, that's the last public citizen comment. This meeting is now adjourned.